Hi, so we're here today with Michael, who's a trainer at the Bend Athletic Club, and he is going to show us, because I literally just got back from 9 months of pretty much straight travel on buses, I mean, you name it, I've been on it. And my hips are just stupidly tight. So I went to my friend Mikey here, and he has given me some great hip, would you call them limbering or exercises?
Mobility.
Hip mobility exercises. So Mike, my question is for people who are sitting all day, or like if I've been traveling on a long stretch and I'm not sleeping in good beds and I'm on long bus rides, why is it important to do hip mobility exercises no matter really what age you are?
Yep.
You know?
So sitting is actually horrible, whether it's you're sitting in an office all day in a chair or you're traveling like you do, especially if you're on a cramped bus or cramped plane and all that. When we sit, everything gets sagged down and the hips automatically go into a little bit of external rotation, and you get into a really bad position here, and then everything gets tight. And by being in that position, everything transfers into the low back. A lot of studying over the last year really has me convinced that the more you get your hips moving around, the better off your low back is going to be, even up into your upper back. Sitting for long periods of time is just not what we were designed to do, and tight hips lead to a lot of other problems.
Okay. So like I personally have been having difficulty with internal rotation. Like my hip is cracking every time it rotates big internally. So are the exercises you're doing today to help people get a better, or is it just like a better, what do you call it, the inward one, or is it just a total hip mobility?
It will help with no matter if you're immobile, either in internal rotation or external rotation.
Okay.
These exercises will help with both of those. Basically, whichever one you have a problem with is where you'll feel tightness in the moves that you're doing.
Gotcha.
So these moves will help with both of them. And also with pelvic tilt, either forward or back. Almost nobody over anterior tilts. Everybody, or posterior tilts. Everybody anterior tilts, especially when they've been sitting.
Okay.
So it'll get the pelvis, the hips in a better position and moving better. And whichever way you're tight, it's going to help improve that.
Gotcha. Okay. So we already did some hip circles earlier. What is your favorite exercise for the hips? Is it the 90-90?
The 90-90 series is definitely my favorite.
Okay, so let's go through that right now.
Okay. So the reason why it's kind of called 90-90 is because you get yourself basically in a split 90-90 position. Okay, which means this front leg is out in front of you a little ways, knees bent about 90 degrees. Back leg, you want it as far straight to the side. You don't want it up in front of you.
Okay.
You don't want your foot tucked behind you.
Your front leg is 90, pretty much right 90 degrees.
It's out a little bit, but it's about 90 degrees, and then that back foot is at 90 degrees.
Okay.
And then from there, you want to try and sit as tall as you can.
Okay.
Tightening the core. Now, this leg is in extreme internal rotation.
Okay.
This leg is in extreme external rotation. I have more problem with internal rotation, just like you do.
Okay.
So you can see I'm kind of leaning over just a little bit to the side. It's not overpronounced, but you might get into this and be leaning over here. Eventually,
that's why we're videoing you.
Upright as much as you can and relax there. And at first, it's just trying to sit up tall, not putting your hands down. If you're extremely tight and it hurts really bad, you can put a hand down, but don't rely on leaning on that hand.
Gotcha.
I want it just there. In fact, if you can, get to here. Now, from here, we do a series of movements. One of the movements is taking this back leg and lifting it up and bringing it right out in front of you.
Okay.
And then lifting it up and putting it right back where it was.
Okay.
Okay, that works end range of motion in that external or internal rotation on this side. And then when you come out in front, you get a nice hamstring stretch. If you're flexible enough, you can't even reach for your toe. And back up, and you set it back. And you do 5 repetitions of that. And then we switch over to the other side. And you'll see on this side, with me, like I said, my left hip is a little
90
better.
degrees for the front, pretty much.
Pretty much. It's out to the side a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
And pay attention. Again, I still have a little more trouble with internal rotation, which is this back leg. My external rotation is good. You might do it, and that knee will be, I can't even do it. That knee might be up in the air. You want to try and get that knee on the ground. And sitting up tall again, and again, it's the same move. Lifting up the back leg, bringing it out in front, lifting it up, and taking it back. And I want it nice and slow. It's not whipping it around.
Right.
It's nice and slow. Back and forth again, 5 times on that side. The other thing you don't want to do is be sitting here and get all rounded.
Okay.
Hunched forward, sitting up tall.
So good to do it in front of a mirror?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have access to that, or just be conscious of it.
Okay.
Now
the hard
part of
one?
the move, we'll go back to the other side. And now we're going to move this front leg, because it's going to cause you to really stabilize with this back leg.
Okay.
Again, sitting up tall, nice core contraction. Breathing normally, don't hold your breath.
Contracting my core as you're talking. I'm like,
got it. All right, and now what you're going to do is we're going to lift up the front leg and extend it out in front of us. And then lift it up and bring it back.
oh, we didn't do this one.
I didn't have you do this one.
Yeah.
Not yet. So, lift it up, straighten it out again. Good stretch of the hamstring. Lift it up and bring it back. Here, if you're tight on the internal rotation, you're going to cramp up here because you're trying to stabilize here.
I think I'm going to have a really hard time with that one.
Yep. And again, 5 repetitions. Switch it over 5 repetitions.
Okay.
I'll demonstrate this a little bit. Again, nice and controlled. Extend it out. Bring it back. You can see I lean back a little bit.
Yeah.
Try to lean back as little as possible.
Right.
But you're going to have to move a little bit. I mean, if you're extremely mobile, I've seen people that can just move their leg and it looks like nothing. Like
Yeah.
5 on that side. All right. We have one more move that we're going to do.
Now this is the hard one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So now we're going to get back in that 90-90 position. Again, don't point that toe. Have it nice and flexed up. Put your hand right on your ankle and just outside the knee. And you are going to lean forward a little bit. Don't put a ton of weight on your hands, but a little bit.
Okay.
And now what you do is, again, think tall spine. Don't get rounded forward. Tall spine. And you're going to take that back foot, leave the knee on the ground, and lift the foot. It doesn't go very far, but it's enough. And again, I lean forward a little bit because I do have a little bit of trouble.
Now, can you show me which part of your hip this is activating?
Right here.
Okay.
Right, all those, because what I'm doing is taking it into more extreme internal rotation. That's basically by lifting up that foot, you're taking your upper leg and internally rotating it.
So essentially, if somebody has a very difficult time doing this, they need to work more on their internal rotation,
Yes.
which is like what? I could do it on my right side, my left did not even move.
And
Didn't
if you
even
can't move it, that's okay too. Like if you go to move and it doesn't come off the ground, just trying to get it to do it gets
Helps.
those muscles to contract and try to move.
Okay.
And then you do it on the other side
So
also.
5 on the other side as well. Okay. Awesome.